Week 9 in the fantasy football season, and here's a few quarterbacks I look to drop this week. The first guy, Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr, over the last couple weeks here, we haven't seen much out of him in terms of fantasy football, and now he hit rock bottom in Week 8 in New Orleans. I know Week 9 on paper he's got a decent matchup at the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I don't know how fantasy owners could go out there and really trust Derek Carr at this time in fantasy football. I know he got Devontae Adams. He's got Hunter Renfrow, even though he's done nothing this season. But pretty much this Raider offense this year has been at its best when Josh Jacobs is running the football great. So the last few games here for Derek Carr, Week 5 at Kansas City, 241 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 rushing yards. Week 7 versus Houston, 241 pass yards, a touchdown in that one. And then Week 8 in New Orleans, 101 pass yards and an interception. So right here, Derek Carr, he's a guy I really can't trust right now in fantasy football. After the abysmal performance in Week 8 and then Week 7 not doing much here. I know decent matchups coming up here for him, but he's a quarterback I would drop. Guys like Justin Fields I'd rather have than a Derek Carr, obviously. Tua Tagovailoa, obviously rather have him. Geno Smith. So players along those lines I'd rather have as my quarterback than Carr this week, and I would drop him. The next guy, Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. So Daniel Jones, he was a hot pickup, no doubt about it, going into Week 8. Opted in that one at the Seattle Seahawks. 176 pass yards and 20 rushing yards in that game. So now with the Giants going on by, a lot of fantasy owners, they don't have room to hold on to Daniel Jones, especially with 6 teams on bye this week here in Week 9. So Week 10 and 11, great matchups versus Houston and Detroit, where fantasy owners could revisit Daniel Jones, but I don't know if the Giants don't really get a true number 1 wide receiver, or at least trade for a number 2 receiver that'll be their number 1 here. It's going to be tough to trust him weekly, because if he's not getting the rushing yards as Daniel Jones, he's not doing much for fantasy teams. So right here, with all the buys and just the lack of weapons, he's a drop this week. And the third and final quarterback I look to drop this week here is Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos. So Wilson surprisingly still owned 64% of fantasy leagues here, and he came off a decent ball game, nothing great in Week 8 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. 252 pass yards in that one, a touchdown, an interception, and 17 rush yards. So right here, there's rumors going around that Jerry Jeudy might get traded, and we'll see if it comes to fruition here today, if Jeudy gets traded at the NFL trade deadline. So right now, the last few games here for Russell Wilson, Week 5 versus Indianapolis. In that one, 274 pass yards, 2 went those 22 rush yards. Week 6 at the Chargers, 188 pass yards, a touchdown, 23 rushing. Week 7 sat out. And then, like I said, at Jacksonville and London, 252 with a touchdown and inthos. And now with possibly Jeudy getting traded, him struggling all season, and now with the Broncos going on by, there's no need to hold on to Russell Wilson this week. And he's a quarterback I would drop. So that's a few quarterbacks I look to drop here for Week 9 of the fantasy football season.